All right, guys, so I had another question from lesson 3.8 homework, and this is implicit differentiation as well. It's a little bit different um, in that we are not adding the x and y variables, but we're multiplying them now. So before, we just used the power rule, finding the derivative. For this example, we're going to have to use our product rule because if you look, you have the x squared times y squared in your equation. So to find the derivative there, we're going to have to use the product rule. Now, in the last example, I worked it out. I realized I went and looked at your notes in the textbook. I don't always do that. But I did, and I realized I worked it out a tad bit different than the textbook did. And I don't want to confuse you, so I'm going to work it out like the textbook did on this one. Um, so you're able to follow the textbook in the notes and everything's going to make sense to you. So it's asking us to find the derivative and then it wants us to find the slope at the curve at the given point. So we're given, um, I'm sorry guys, this screen is a little tricky. We have x squared, y squared is equal to 36. So like I said, we're using the power rule. So it's our first times the derivative of the second, which is going to be times the 2y. And because I took the derivative of the y, I have to put beside it the derivative of y with respect to x. So it's the first one times the derivative of the second one plus the second one times the derivative of the first one. And we only put that dy dx when you take the derivative of your y, okay? So I don't have to do it with this 2x over here. And the derivative of 36 is 0. So to find the derivative of this function, what we have to do is isolate the dy over dx. So let's rewrite this so it looks a little bit neater. So really what I have here is 2x squared y dy over dx plus 2xy squared is equal to 0. So what we can do is bring that 2xy squared to the right hand side, which will change it to negative. So I have my 2x squared y dy over dx is equal to a negative 2xy squared. And like I said before, the whole point here is to isolate the dy over dx. So what we're going to do is divide the left-hand side of that equation by 2x squared y and the right-hand side by 2x squared y. Reduce the fraction on the left-hand side, and that leaves you with dy over dx, which is what is dy over dx? That's the derivative of y with respect to x, so that's your derivative. Okay, so this is telling me that my derivative is going to be equal to, I can reduce those 2's, I can reduce that x in the numerator, leave one in the denominator, reduce the y in the denominator, leave one in the numerator. So that's going to be negative y over x. So that's the derivative. That's what would go right there. Now, I'm pretty sure that the next part of this problem is going to ask you to find the slope of the curve at the given point, which just means so this is step one. Let's label this. Step one is you have to find your derivative. Step two, you are actually finding this, you have to find the slope of the curve. And all that means to do is substitute. So that's going to be your dy over dx is equal to negative y. My y value was negative 2 over x, which is 3. The opposite of a negative 2 is a positive 2 and 3. So the slope of the curve at 3, negative 2 is 2/3.